Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Roofing Resource Channel. Now, the roofing industry is changing, and not always in ways homeowners can easily see. Over the last several years, private equity companies have been getting more and more involved in roofing companies across the country. And at the same time, many long-run family roofing companies are also doing a lot to change. Whether that's changing leadership, updating facilities, or even modernizing their brand. So how do you tell what's actually changed, and what does that mean for you as a homeowner? In this video, we're going to be breaking down how private equity roofing companies typically operate, how they compare to long-established roofing businesses, and in the end, what really matters when it comes down to you deciding who to trust with your roof. So let's get into it. All right, hey Jeff, thanks for being here and everything. We're just going to jump right into these questions. We brought you in on the topic of private equity and local roofing and what homeowners should probably look for as far as the differences between those kinds of businesses. So let's kind of jump right into, the basics of just definition real quick. What exactly is private equity roofing companies?
All right, so private equity in the roofing industry, private equity as a whole is platform companies that are buying smaller businesses to bring them into a total platform of many different businesses. The goal is to build up that platform and then ultimately sell it to a larger entity. So that is true in many other industries like HVAC, and it's becoming more and more popular now in the roofing industry. So large private groups are pooling monies together. They're then purchasing up individual companies, creating a platform company, and then rolling that up to a larger purchaser. So those cycles typically happen in 3 to 7 years. So over a 3 to 7 year period, they're buying as many as they can, and then they're rolling it up to, again, a larger purchaser.
Okay, and then how would you say that is basically different from a locally owned roofing company?
So some of the biggest differences are just going to be overall strategies. Anytime a private equity group comes in, they're going to be typically making a bunch of changes, really just trying to minimize whatever expenses are involved in that business and maximize the profitability of it. And while, being a profitable business is not a bad thing, one thing that local businesses do is continue to reinvest in their community, continue to reinvest in their people, because those small family businesses are beginning with the end in mind. They're thinking about 10, 20 years, even potentially the next generation of who will carry on that legacy. So they're not sacrificing the short-term profits for the long-term value to the community as a whole. And so once that private money starts to get involved, you can see a shift from big picture vision, community involvement, giving back to the people in the organization and to the community. You can see that shift to bottom line decisions, right now dollars, high pressure sales tactics. And so those are kind of the shifts that you can see.
Okay. Well, let's kind of jump into maybe just like the differences in operation. How does a locally owned roofing company typically operate compared to a private equity backed one?
Operations.
Would you even maybe notice a difference as far as from a homeowner standpoint?
Not necessarily. One thing you will notice is a sales process change. So that's something that you definitely will be able to note as a change. What will typically happen is anytime private equity gets involved, the sales process that they like is that hard close. It's a one-call close strategy. Essentially, they're trying to get in front of you and get you to purchase right now and not wait to think about it, not compare estimates. The reason they're normally doing this is they are typically much more expensive. So that's normally one of the first moves a private group is going to do is increase price significantly, implement a really hard close process in order to try to get you to make a purchase right now and not shop around to see what's out there. The cheapest thing is not typically the best thing, or not always. There's some scenarios where that least expensive option may be the best one, but for the most part, the extremes of the most expensive or the least expensive can be where you might have some trouble. And so a private equity group coming in, trying to make those hard closes are typically because they're charging so much for their services, sometimes twice as much as a privately held group would.
Now, if they are, maybe charging twice to maybe triple the amount and everything like that, why would a homeowner choose someone like that as far as, being able to extend that price so much compared to being as competitive as local people and everything?
I would say it's private equity groups are primarily doing that around strategy and not because they're providing double the value or double the quality. Typically, the processes they walk homeowners through are going to be ones that encourage them to, again, make a decision right now, so that homeowner doesn't really understand what the comparisons are, or try to create something that feels like it's something that's different when in fact it's quite very similar. So those are the things to be careful of. So really double the value isn't what you're seeing, just charging much more for those services.
Absolutely. And then you're going on, it seems like a very pushy, like on the right when they're then and there in the house with you, push and everything like that. Is there anything else that homeowners should maybe look out for as far as this is probably a private equity company that are being this pushy and everything? Is there anything else besides just that one day close or something along the lines of like while they're there inspecting they should look out for?
I would say that the one call close process is going to be probably the biggest signal to the homeowner that is in fact the case.
Gotcha.
A lot of call centers are a part of that private equity group. So if you feel like who you're talking to is a part of a call center in that early process, it doesn't mean that is necessarily the case, but that could be an inclination that you might be talking to a private equity group. A way for you also to know is to check websites and see, what type of involvement those companies are a part of. Oftentimes, they will say company A blank service partner, and that is typically the equity group that they are then involved with.
Okay. Well, then kind of the next thing, you kind of jumped into a lot of the things that I was going to be jumping in and talking about, but one of the big things I wanted to talk about was maybe as far as the services and warranties that are provided after the installation. What happens after a roof is installed, maybe with a private equity compared to a local roofing company as far as warranties, and what does that look like for a homeowner after the fact?
Yes. I would say that from what I have seen in the equity groups that are offering here locally, and as well as the relationships I have with contractors outside of this market, what they share with me, what they're seeing is going to be similar. The main difference is a lot of those private equity groups can, what's the word that I'm looking for, can make those warranties seem very extreme or sometimes even unbelievable.
Gotcha.
So whenever you see that, a general rule of thumb, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
It's worth doing your homework. If you get that feeling like, oh my gosh, like this warranty is going to cover anything for any reason, no matter what, and for the next 50 years, wow, that sounds too good to be true.
Yes.
It's probably because it is. And so it's just worth looking into those things if you get that feeling.
Okay. Now, let's get a little more local, Myrtle Beach area, the decision when someone's kind of going through, maybe I want to go with this company that's private equity backed and this one is more local. How important is that decision as far as, is there a good or bad reason to pick a private equity company compared to a local?
Yeah. I don't want to demonize the private equity side of things.
Of course.
Not all of them are bad actors, just like not all family businesses are good actors, right? So choosing a contractor that you trust, getting separate estimates, comparing them, making the decision what's best for you and your family is going to be important. Someone that's trying to charge you twice as much for the same thing, whether that's a private group or a publicly held one, it's something to kind of pump the brakes and get an understanding for what it is that you're really purchasing. So I think that's what to lean into more. This is just a trend with privately held groups. So being aware of a hard sell as a signal, hey, they're trying to prevent me from figuring out what else is out there, that's a sign that maybe I'm getting charged a lot for this, or why do they not want me to compare their offering to other people?
I got you. Now, last thing I really wanted to touch on with you on this subject is, say, I'm a homeowner and I've talked to a few different companies from each of these standpoints, private equity, local home. What key advice would you give a homeowner that is looking or trying to balance these different options? And what sort of questions should they be asking these roofing companies just to get the best experience for themselves?
Yeah. Of course, getting multiple estimates.
Yes.
Not making a decision on the spot, but comparing those options to really see what's out there. Truly understanding the warranty. Okay. When somebody says, hey, I have a 10-year warranty, ask, Well, what do you mean? Is that a 10-year workmanship warranty? Is that a 10-year warranty on materials? Is that a 10-year leak warranty? That no matter what the reason, if it leaks, that you've got a warranty. So just because someone has a 10 or a 15 or a 50-year warranty, ask what that means exactly, so you can have an understanding as to what's going to be covered in the event of a leak or an issue. What else would I have that homeowner ask or want them to make sure that they're asking? What level of supervision is going to take place on the job site? Something that's super important is third-party accountability. So is somebody coming, checking, auditing, reviewing the work that's being done? So whether that's a private group or a public one, or a private equity group or a private one, it's important to make sure that you're going to have great supervision on the job site. And ultimately, do they have proof to show that this is what they've done in the past? For example, is there a process for how their roof is inspected? Do they have examples of other customers and how that's been performed? Also, what's the process around if an issue arises? How quickly are they able to get out to you? What does the warranty process look like if something does in fact take place? And so a well-established company that has great processes and procedures, they're gonna have those answers for you. They're gonna have proof of concept. They're gonna be able to show you, not just tell you what it is that they do. And then that's gonna help give you peace of mind that you're gonna in fact get what someone is promising you and not just get a piece of paper with a bunch of promises and some blank returns.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for letting us pick your brain on this topic. I appreciate you being able to come out here and answer these questions.
Yeah, brother, thank you so much. I loved it.
If you like this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment with any questions or experiences you've had with roof installs. For more information on this topic, visit our learning center at linterroofing.com. Thanks for watching.